you lease floors, you don't lease by area. So if you're a small business, it's very, very difficult to get a central Tokyo location. And this essentially was looking at Conway's game of life and algorithmic growth, and how you could actually create a framework, literally a framework, that you could tie into, and using certain strategic moves in terms of sites that may not be currently desirable, and building high but building light.
Yeah, I think this was really driven from the pattern interrupt,
Yeah.
which was Alex's wearable. So he realised that we are in conscious states, and when we shift our attention, we go from state to state. And what usually happens certainly in the urban environment is there's 5, 10, 15, 25-year plans in terms of the urban development. And those are effectively set patterns, but the markets, the political, economic, social, and technological aspects change repeatedly. So what if a system itself can actually adapt in real time according to those fluxes?
So this was a project stemmed really from, I guess, from an interest in health. So this student had asthma and or whatever else, and decided to create a mask that would help him breathe in the sort of smoggy city centre. And actually from that started looking at the aging process, and how particularly in Japan, but actually throughout the whole world, an aging population and an increase in life expectancy means that that's something that society is going to have to deal with, or pretty urgently. And so he took a government building and looked at how you could symbiotically augment that through actually. He had this idea of using the flow of air around the building and directing that in to create both literal energy for the building, so with turbines and but also creating a flow of ideas. So he had this idea of the older, the sort of more senior members of this government building being able to pass down their knowledge through sort of capsules that were embedded within the building. And all this linked through an economic model as well. So he had an idea of a pension plan that you'd buy into. You'd start in this tower, which is actually quite an iconic tower in Tokyo. You'd start at the base level, and actually you'd go up a floor each 5 years or something, and you'd buy into a pension scheme that actually paid for this augmented capsules and augmented facilities that you'd benefit from as you got older. So it became a whole cyclical thing.
This was There somewhere. So actually this is a bit of a combination. This is looking at sound and how you can actually use sound and harness sound, but yeah, effectively it's creating this sort of environment, this acoustic framework that allowed you to step outside of the common space in a way, be internalised.
And one particular project that you can see sort of mapped there was actually looking at one of Tokyo's central underground stations, metro stations in the shopping district. And actually this thing is absolutely huge and has a number of, I think, 5 exits. And Martin in this case looked at those exits and actually thought, well, they're fundamentally quite different in character. And he sort of interpreted that through a mapping of senses and thought, well, actually, if you come out of this exit, there's loads of food markets here, so you have all these smells of this, incredible food being. And if you come out of here, it's a sort of visual cacophony of retail and advertising that's in your face and sort of trying to make you buy more and buy faster. And he sort of, he went through that, mapped it, and generated actually a sort of a reimagining of what that station could be.
Yeah, and this is Chauvin. He looked at the step, he created a stepometer, but allowed him to work out the rhythm. He initially wore this within a sort of Zen garden in Tokyo, and then thought, how could he effectively reconstruct that experience within Oxford Street, which is a hard project in itself. But the idea that effectively we're working within rhythms, and he used his system to effectively map a an elevated surface that could enable him to try to recreate that Zen experience. Proximity.
10:30.
I'm going to try to be a timekeeper, so if you could
Sure.
move a little bit quicker.
Sure, we're almost done.
So I mean, this project was quite interesting because it was about, it was very directly related to the Olympics, the proposed Olympics for Tokyo, which is having a huge impact on the city. I'm sure you've all seen the articles on the stadium and what's happened with that. The Tokyo fish market, which is one of the biggest fish markets in the world, and is renowned for the tuna auction that they have there, is actually being scooped up and relocated as part of the Olympics. And so this project here was looking at how, reimagining what you might do with that, again, in a sort of systemic approach. So rather than saying, we're going to pick it up and we're going to put it somewhere else, well, actually, what does that mean for the people working there? It was seen in terms of a sort of touristic approach that they wanted to sanitize and make it sort of something which it inherently isn't. And so it's about, well, maybe these sort of highly skilled tuna slicers who use the swords, samurai swords handed down from generations to actually slice these tuna in very specific ways. Maybe that becomes an export. Maybe they export this sort of sushimi preparation knowledge in another way. And so it became something slightly more than or something augmenting the market rather than just relocating it, and how you could see a future for that. So this year, relating very much directly to that, we're going to be using Rio as a test bed. And Rio is a really interesting city in terms of in terms of these events. Obviously, you've got the Olympics happening there this summer. You had the World Cup previously. You have the biggest carnival, well, if not the biggest, certainly one of the biggest carnivals in the world every year there in January. So it's a place of real sort of activity and also change. There's a huge, the interesting thing about the Olympics in Rio, a lot of what's being built there now is infrastructure. Infrastructure in the sort of crudest sense of the word, so sewage systems, things that are going to make this city function moving forward. So I don't know how we're doing for time.
You've been on for quite long.
Are we?
Yeah.
So
20
I
minutes.
guess we'll save the questions for another time then.
Yes, we're going to have a Q&A at 12:45.
We'll do that.
What we're going to do is do